Alright, so in this video we're going to start with the showcase area, which is going to go directly under the navbar. Alright, and you can see the content is smushed under there, and that's because that doesn't belong there. If you look at this, you can see that the showcase is supposed to go behind it. Okay, so we're going to do that next. And the showcase is a section, so I'm going to go to sections.scss. Alright, and let's just say sections. And what we want is section showcase. Okay, so for this, we're going to set a height. Now I'm going to make this a variable. Okay, so I'm going to make this a variable called showcase height. And then for the background, say background URL, no repeat, top center. Now the URL I'm actually going to make a variable as well. Alright, so we're going to say dot dot because we want to go back one, and then actually, you know what, we'll only have the image. No, we'll have the path included as well. So we'll say slash and then showcase image. I think that'll work. And then in variables, showcase height, which is going to be 400 pixels. Showcase image is going to be img slash, I think it's showcase.jpg. Let me check. Yeah. So let's see if that works. Whoa. Okay, so we're getting some kind of error here. Expected selector or at rule was JPEG. Maybe I need quotes around this. No. You can see that there is an error here as well, but it's behind the navbar. Image showcase. You know what I'm going to do is get rid of that and just have showcase image in there. I don't think we can mix like that. So in variables, I'm just going to change this to the full path. And that should work, I think. Okay, we're not getting an error, but I don't see the image. Showcase. Oh, we just have the class showcase. We got to change that. So we have to go into our index HTML page, and where is it? Section. We have class showcase. This should be section showcase. Alright, so there's the image. Alright, so that looks good. We need to work with this content now that's inside of it. And if you remember, that has a div class, a class of showcase content. So section showcase, I'm just going to do some nesting here. Showcase content. I'm going to do padding 90, 15, and we want to text align to the center. Alright. the H1 here, I want to be the primary color. So I'll just say H1. Primary color. Alright, and gotta save it. Alright, so it looks good. Let's move it down a little more. So padding, let's try 110. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so we have the top part of our home page done. Now we're going to do this section here, which has the input. Alright, so first of all, we're going to create the section light. Actually, you know what? We'll create all the main section color classes. So we have primary. And actually, you know what? We need to set a default padding for our sections. So I'm going to do that up at the top. Okay, just all section tags themselves, I want to have 30 pixels padding on the top and bottom. Alright, and then section primary is going to have a background. Actually, I'm going to do a mix-in. Include add background. And let's see, color. Actually, wait a minute, primary color. Alright, and then in mix-ins, copy this. Color. Excuse me. And then background will be whatever's passed in. And I also, if the background is primary, primary, secondary, or dark, then I want to have a white text. I want to have white text. If it's the light color, obviously we don't want white text, so let's do a little conditional here, and we'll say if color is equal to primary color then the text will be white. Secondary actually, you know what, this is, we can shorten this up by saying if the color is light color, then we want the color to be, let's say, dark gray, and then we'll just say else color will be white. Okay, so now in the sections, include add background primary color. Okay, so the reason I did that is basically now we don't have to have the text color as well. We can just add the background and the text color will change. And this one was section secondary. Okay, that'll take the secondary color. Light. And then dark. Alright. Okay, so now what happened was we added the color for the background for section light, and also we added padding on the top and bottom for all sections. So now you can see that they're all spaced out much better. Alright, so we're getting there. And just you can see, just by that little amount of CSS, we have totally changed this from a mess into a good looking template. Alright, so now we want to work on this search area. And I wasn't going to, but I'm actually going to create, inside of modules, I'm going to create a forms SCSS file. Because I forgot that search form is going to have quite a bit of styling. So forms, and then you just want to make sure that you include it in your main. Alright. So search box. So it has a class of search. And we're going to set the width to 100%. We want it to take up the whole width of its column. And then the H3, actually we want to do it the SASS way. And set a margin top to 0 and a padding top to 0. Okay, it doesn't look any different yet. Alright, now we want to do the input. So we should be able to say input, and then using CSS3 we can actually focus on a certain type, which is going to be search. That's the type we used. And we'll set border to 0. Okay, height is going to be 50 pixels. Width we're going to do 80%, because this template is responsive, so I want it to, we're going to use a lot of flexible widths. So border will be 2 pixels, solid, and will be the primary color. And then font size, you can see there's quite a bit of styling here, 18 pixels. And we'll do padding left 10 pixels, and padding bottom 5 pixels. So let's check that out. Alright, that looks good. Now we need to do the button. Okay, button, we want to set border to 0. We want to set background to none, padding to 0, and we want a vertical align to the top, and then just set a margin left of -4 pixels, and that's so it looks like it's all one unit. See, we want to get rid of this space. Okay, so that looks good. Alright, so moving along, now we're going to do this section with the 3 blocks. Now this is where we need to look at margin and padding, because if we look at the finished template, this section with the 3 blocks and this one with the 4 blocks don't have a background, so it looks a little funny because they're spaced far apart, you know. So what we want to do, actually that doesn't look, you know what, let's come back to that. Let's do the blocks themselves first, and then we'll take a look at the sections. Alright, because we know the sections aren't going to have a background. They're going to be white. So let's go to modules, blocks. So we're going to have a core block style. Oops. And that's going to have padding of 15 pixels and also a margin on the bottom of 15 pixels. Okay. Block H3. Margin top 0. Padding top 0. Alright, then block primary, and this is where I'm going to use another feature. I'm going to use the extend feature. Okay, so we're going to say at extend block. Alright, so what this is going to do is take all the properties from block and add it to block primary. Alright, and then we'll just include our mixin for the background. Okay, so let's save that. And there's our primary blocks. Okay, so we'll do secondary, light and dark. And you can see how much cleaner this is than if you were to use just regular CSS. It's cleaner and it's much more manageable. Alright, so let's see that. Okay, so there's our blocks. So next one I want to do is block center. Okay, so for this we're just going to align to the center, and we're going to add an important tag on this as well. Alright. Now, if we look at the home page, you can see what I was talking about is that this section and this section, they have the padding, okay, but there's no background color to kind of take the place of one of the sections padding, if that makes sense. Basically, this is too wide. Alright, so what I want to do is create some classes to deal with things like this. So I'm going to go to my normalize file, where is it? Base, normalize, and I'm going to add a class called notepad top. Alright, and basically I'm just going to set padding top to 0. Alright, and then go to my index page and find the 4 column. So I want this here, I want this section, and I'm going to add a class. I'm going to add that class called notepad top. Okay, and then if we reload, it moves it up. Alright, so there's a million different ways that you can deal with things like that. That's just what I like to do. We'll probably add some more of those kinds of classes just to deal with spacing issues. Alright, so let's go down here, and we need to take care of this. This image is way too big. Now for the image, there's no great place to put this in this kind of structure, so I'm just going to put it in my base file. Alright, so it has a class of devices. I'm sorry, device image. Actually, it should be the other way around. Image.device. And I'm going to set the width to 100%. And that's going to be 100% of its container. Okay? Because it's contained in a 6-column div, so it shrunk. instead of popping out of it. Okay, so for this list item, I'm going to do my list CSS inside of my typography file. So, all right. So lists, we want ul dot feature. Actually, we want ul dot list, and I'm going to give it a margin bottom of 30 pixels. Actually, we don't need the ul. Alright, and then list feature, I'm going to extend list. Alright, and I'm going to set margin to 0, padding 0, and the width I'm going to set to 80%. Okay, so now we want the li tags of list feature, and to set the line height to 2.2 em, and set a border bottom to gray 1 pixel. Actually, you know what? We can use our mixin. Add border, and the border is going to be 1 pixel. Whoops. 1 pixel. The color and the position will be bottom. Okay, now I don't want the last list item to have a border on the bottom, so I'm going to use a pseudo class called last child. Okay, so we can say li last child border 0. Okay. Let's see, what else do I need here? Okay, so for the span, the list has a span of wrapped around the text. And actually, you know what? We need to do these icons, the sizing of these. So let's actually pause on the lists and go to the icons. And I think I'm going to do that in the next video because we're running out of time. Alright, so we'll do the icons, come back to the list, and then we'll move on.